Ego only exists when comparison exists. Now look closely. Does ego appear when there is no audience? No. Does ego appear when nobody needs to know? No. Does ego appear when there is no measuring? No. This tells you something crucial. Ego is not an internal necessity, it is a social reflex. Does ego appear when there is no audience? Look at this honestly. When no one is watching, there is no performance, no posture to hold, no narrative to protect, no image to project. You don't become humble, you simply stop acting. Ego is action for others. Without an observer, there is no role, and without a role, the actor disappears. Does ego appear when nobody needs to know? Ego requires visibility. It lives on being known, being recognized, being remembered. If an action leaves no trace, ego loses interest. This is why anonymous kindness feels lighter, private discipline feels purer, unseen effort feels peaceful, because the reflex to convert action into identity never fires. Does ego appear when there is no measuring? Measurement creates time and rank. Before, after, higher, lower, more, less. Measurement says, this matters in relation to something else. Ego enters exactly there. When there is no scoreboard, there is nothing to defend. Activity continues, but identity does not. Ego is not an internal necessity. This is radical if you see it. Breathing doesn't need ego. Seeing doesn't need ego. Thinking doesn't need ego. Function doesn't need ego. Life works perfectly without a self-image. Ego adds nothing to function. It only adds commentary. Ego is a social reflex. A reflex is not chosen. It is conditioned. From childhood, praise, comparison, ranking, approval, correction in public. The nervous system learns, I exist through how I am seen. This becomes automatic, just like flinching at a loud sound. No morality, no failure, just wiring. Watch this carefully. The moment another human enters the space, the body subtly tightens. Not because of danger, because image management activates. This tightening is ego, not arrogance, not confidence, tension. This changes everything. If ego is a reflex, then guilt is unnecessary, pride is meaningless, self improvement is misdirected. You don't fix a reflex, you stop triggering it. How the reflex loses power. Not through isolation forever, not through becoming antisocial, but through clarity. You see, this is the reflex turning on, and because it is seen, it runs without authority, like a habit noticed mid motion. A final line to say with. Ego is not who you are, it is what happens when life believes it must be seen to be valid. Remove the need to be seen, and what remains is not nothing, it is life unburdened. Ego exists only to position you in an imaginary hierarchy. Ask, where is this hierarchy located? Can you touch it? Does it exist when you are alone? No. You are trying to protect your position in a map that is not the territory. That's why it's unnecessary. Ego exists only to position you in an imaginary hierarchy. Ego's sole function is orientation, not in reality, but in a conceptual order of higher lower, ahead behind, superior inferior, important irrelevant. This ordering feels urgent, but notice, nothing in life itself asks for rank. The body does not need status to breathe. Awareness does not need position to perceive. Action does not need hierarchy to occur. Hierarchy is not required for living. It is required only for comparison. Where is this hierarchy located? Look for it. Is it in space? Is it in the room? Is it in the body? No. It exists only as thought referencing thought, a mental overlay, a coordinate system placed on top of reality, not inside it. Can you touch it? You can touch the ground, the body, the breath, sensation. You cannot touch better, worse, ahead, behind. Hierarchy has no substance. It is an abstraction treated as survival. That mistake creates suffering. Does it exist when you are alone? When truly alone, not scrolling, not imagining others, where is rank? There is none. There is movement, rest, attention, perception. Hierarchy collapses without witnesses. This tells you something decisive. Hierarchy is relational, not real. You are protecting a position in a map that is not the territory. This is the core. A map is useful for navigation, but it is not the land. Hierarchy is a social map. It helps societies coordinate, but it is not what is happening. Ego confuses the map for reality, so it defends titles, images, narratives, relative worth, none of which exists outside thought. Why the protection feels urgent? Because the mind believes if I lose position, I lose existence. But existence is not granted by rank. You existed before comparison, you exist without measurement, you will exist without the story. The fear is misplaced. Why ego feels heavy? You are carrying an invisible scoreboard, imaginary competitors, future evaluations, past judgments, all for a game that isn't being played in reality. Life is not asking you to win. The quiet release. When you see this hierarchy is conceptual, not actual, effort drops. Not because you become passive, but because there is nothing to defend. Action continues, care remains, intelligence operates, but anxiety dissolves. Final clarity. Ego is unnecessary because the hierarchy is imaginary. The map is not the territory. Life does not consult rankings to function. You don't transcend ego, you simply stop mistaking a drawing for the ground beneath your feet, and then walking becomes easy. So, ego was never a problem to solve, it was a misunderstanding to see through. You were trying to survive inside an image, protect a position in a hierarchy that never existed outside thought. The moment this is seen clearly, effort softens, not because life becomes small, but because it no longer needs justification. No audience is required, no rank is at stake, no identity needs defending. What remains is simple movement without comparison, action without a scoreboard, life without a center. Nothing was taken away. You just stopped mistaking the map for the ground and started standing where you always were.